Alright guys, today we're going to talk about the movie Inbred. It is a British film about a group of like misfits, you'd say, who are going to fix up a house, do some work to get themselves back on the straight and narrow.
They're on like a retreat with some disadvantaged youths, I believe.
Yes, and while there, these outsider-hating group of people kind of terrorize them a bit.
Some inbred dudes up in the whatevers of York. Did you know anything about this going into this?
I had never seen this movie before.
You saw the box.
I saw the box,
which looks okay.
And I was like, all right, man, I gotta check this out. You know, made in 2011, so I was like, okay,
relatively recent.
This is new enough. It could be good. Did not know, but anything going into it. So I had no thoughts going in. The name just being Inbred, I was like, well, that kind of says it all. This is going to be like a Hills Have Eyes type of movie.
Or like a Wrong Turn, like you're expecting a specific thing, right?
Yeah, I had something in mind.
I want to say it boots up, Accelerator starts.
Yes, I did notice that, and I like that sometimes.
Okay, I was going to say, what does that do to you? Because we've seen a lot of trailers that have Accelerator as the company, and I just have a general sense of like it's bad.
I think more often than not, they have okay trailers.
Okay.
But they have had some things where I'm like, oh, that looks very bad. But every company has that. Not everything's going to be a success, and I'm sure the things I don't like, somebody else likes.
I think of it like a worse version of Blumhouse that just makes a lot of stuff, or like A24 makes a lot of stuff. Certain names are starting to stand out. It's like I see a lot of trailers that has this before it, so maybe it might mean nothing, actually, right? I just produce or like put out a lot of things. Yeah.
But yeah, like just looking into it, didn't recognize any of the actors. So I was like, okay, going into that, I actually take that as a plus half the time.
Yep.
Because knowing nobody either means this is the dregs of bullshit, or it's just like, okay, I'm going to only think of these characters as those people. I'm going to go with no preconceived notions. I'm not going to have anything like, I won't know, oh, that guy's more famous than that one, so he's probably going to live. Or, oh, this is, you know, like I had nothing like that going into it. And that's kind of important for a horror movie.
I had the same, like, pure
it's less,
experience.
It's less intrusive on my experience.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I stood going in.
Do you want me to walk through a little more of my thoughts as the movie continues? So my first note is everything about this is bad. Because just like the intro credits and some of the stuff, the sound and everything, I'm very sensitive to like when the sound mixing or whatever.
I thought the visuals of those cuttings of the farms and stuff as the intro, I was like, okay, this movie might have had more money than I thought it would have.
Yeah, and that's a theme throughout. There are some like visual stuff. So like I do remember that there's one wide shot of like a field and stuff where I was like, okay, but like I mean the visuals, like the graphics and some of the different stuff that was happening. And it opens on like a fake movie within a movie.
Yeah.
So it's already starting to like throw you off. So for that point, for like that stuff, I was like, what is happening here or whatever with like Lemonade and axe murdering and all that stuff. Were you similarly like? Did you immediately know that it was a movie within a movie?
No.
Okay.
I didn't hate the first thing I saw. It had the first bit had terrible graphics. Like they cut off a leg and it just goes to like it just green screens it out. Like,
yes.
And I was like, oh, all right.
Oh.
But it was campy enough too, where it's like I just wanted some lemonade and just like clubs lighting. I was like, okay, I could get behind this. But when it did end and show me that like, okay, I was a little relieved. I was like, okay, they were just watching that. This is the actual movie.
No, I was a bit relieved too. I think that the bad CG graphics or like gore is something I'm just not used to. I think had it been like the same amount of bad but like practical, I would have maybe been like, oh, I'm getting a kick out of this. But when he hits him in the fit and like the axe, and you're just like, oh no, like it just looks so bad to me that it's hard for me to get into.
His face with the axe wasn't the one that did me. It was when he cuts the leg off.
The leg's horrible.
That was bad.
Because people don't, it doesn't, there's nothing realistic about it. It's like a video game where you're cutting something off or whatever.
Yeah, where there's a complete straight line.
Yeah, it's like very weird.
Yeah. That was not their strong part. But again, that wasn't the movie. That was the movie inside the movie.
Yeah,
so I was like,
kicks
okay,
us off
whatever.
Into the movie proper.
And then it picks up and they're inside a bus and they're driving down the road and I'm like, okay, you're learning the characters. There's a little bit of too much. It's not even exposition. It's just like mindless jargon in there. And I was like, all right, get over with it. Like you're talking a little too much in here. I really dislike that main dick of a character kid.
Oh, good, yeah.
I was also thrown for a minute because I while they're clearly English, I did not pick up the car for a second. So when the guys turned back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, look at the road. he was turning back for so long, and then I'm like, oh, the wheels on the other side.
No, there's a few shots of him talking where, yeah, as Americans we wouldn't automatically think that, yeah, and then finally there's a shot from the front where like the woman's driving.
Yes.
And like, oh, okay, I did the exact.
I was like, well, they're gonna die. Funny. He's not looking for so long.
That'll be what kills them. Yeah. And we get a little foreshadowing here where like there's a bunch of people like stabbing a scarecrow
a group of kids
man.
staring at a scarecrow that may or may not have been a person strung up.
Looked bloody and weird and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay. So,
and two of the kids see it and like, did you say? Yeah, I did see that. That's a little
exactly.
But at this point, I'm like, okay, I kind of like it. I was liking that guy character. The one, did you see that? Like the arsonist.
Yeah.
And he turned out to be more of a main character, so I was like, okay, cool. He didn't die right away.
That was our dude. That was the guy I think you're meant to follow and like be like, okay, with that guy, yeah.
So they get to this house, and it's really like a shithole, and you wonder really what is their role in society. Like these are what do they call themselves? They're social workers, pretty much, but they call themselves like child care providers or something. It was some name where I meant to Google it and say like, is that a real thing? Like, what is that?
There's a British or like a slightly like a windscreen wiper. There's like a little term they use because they don't say social workers. They say like the British equivalent of that.
Yeah, but they're essentially social workers.
But you realize like it's not a family, right? Even if you like could have thought that it was, it's like it's like.
But what's weird for me is, like, there seemed to be no structure in what they had planned. So they take him to this house. All right, we're staying at this place. We're also going to be fixing up this place. The place looks like it should be condemned. Yeah. So it seems like, do you visit this place often? Do you just get random assignments and that's what you go and do? Right. Because they didn't know this place. It didn't seem. They didn't have the maps. Like, well, where is it? Blah. So it's not a place they go to continually.
I feel bad now because I was hoping you would help me with that part where I'm like, were they meant to go to that place? Did they just find it and start staying there?
No, that was the place they were meant to go.
So people know they went there. So now they're going to be like they never came back, right? I don't know.
I imagine that the family we're jumping the gun here, but disposed of any evidence they've ever been there, and they're like, oh, they never made it.
Sure.
Or they were here, they left.
That's the ending. Then you want to do anyway.
So they go there, they fix up this place, and it seems like already you're like, really? This is what you're doing? That seems kind of far-fetched. I don't know if the British do things way different than us, but here things are very structured. You wouldn't be taking people into the wilderness to do things like, or let alone a broken down building. But then like they do their work. It looks a little bit nicer, whatever.
And they want to reward the kids for that. So
they take them to a pub.
So now
the drinking age is much lower there. Yeah. I think, what is it, 16, 18 to drink?
Yeah, but so like they're also setting up this plot where like the lady's the cool one and the dude is like the square.
Yeah.
And like she's like, you keep alienating yourself and all that business. So they even argue like we can't take the kids to like a pub. Some of them have substance abuse issues. We can't do this. So they go there and they want Cokes and they only have lemonade, all this whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just more background to make you feel uneasy about all these people and not know what's happening. Right?
At this point, I really enjoyed the guy who owns the bar.
Yeah,
I forget what his name is. He has such a deep, like, bellowing voice that I was like, that guy's kind of cool. He feeds them like homemade pig testicles or some bullshit.
I don't know what scratchers are or what they're supposed to be. There was a bug in it, but he ate it anyway.
Was it a bug? I thought it was a pube.
I have no idea what. I was so confused about so much of this movie.
I thought it was literally a hairy testicle.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I don't know what a scratcher or whatever is.
No.
I thought originally it was gonna be like crisps or something like chips, yes. But like then it comes and it's in like a bag of olives, and I'm like, what the hell? There's like 7 of them in there.
Yeah, there's like 10 of these, and he's like, I got these though, and we're supposed to know what those are meant to be, but I have no idea what they are. So I chalked it up to like cultural misunderstanding. I just know that it's a disappointment to have to eat these, and the kid did not like it.
No one likes them. They didn't like the lemonade. They didn't like anything at this place.
Because lemonade tastes like piss, apparently. I'm assuming that it was piss or had piss in it or something like that.
I thought they were going to call back and show you that, oh, let me make more.
Yeah, but they don't or whatever.
No.
They also do this like misdirect thing where she's like, we're staying up at the whatever cottage, and the guy drops a glass he's gonna be like it's haunted, or like, oh no, don't be up there or whatever. But it turns out he's just dropping a glass, I guess.
He's just drunk and clumsy, I guess.
I don't know what we're all meant to think.
Yeah, but it
about
was a decent misdirect. You
Yeah.
thought a tail was gonna come and it doesn't.
a nice yarny tail. We set up the creep with the
yeah.
carrot
There's
dick.
a large creepy dude who hits on like the silent girl and he gets thrown out of the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, he's harmless. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, so they're positioning this bartender as maybe the guy from Pet Sematary who's like, I don't want to go up there,
Yeah.
it's not safe there, I'll help you out, and all that stuff. And
But he's not
right.
that.
Well, I was gonna say we're not gonna beat around the bush here. Turns out not to be the case.
The next scene, more or less, is they're on another adventure now to a rail yard that is like condemned, and they're like, we're salvaging copper and stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't even seem to know what is valuable, because at one point the lady goes, "Oh, is the copper valuable?" Like they're just there, like, how is this?
They went there like to get valuables. Again, I'm sorry if I missed something with an accent or a slang term or something like that, but they even explain this. They make a big thing out of, like, he explains it two ways. That we're here to get whatever's of value or whatever. And then I'm just like, is this a normal thing to do? Why are you doing this? Hey, we're gonna go salvage stuff. It's kind of like stealing, except maybe not. You like degenerate youths can benefit from this experience. I don't understand this.
But they're allegedly supposed to be there. They've rang and called ahead. There's supposed to be tools waiting for them.
Yep.
So they're doing the stealing thing, and then, like, I'm gonna skip back, but just to
flash
forward, the creepy guy from town, he goes, "Those are my tools," which would mean he's the guy you called on the phone.
Yeah.
Who should be more than willing to, like, be like, "Oh yeah, we know you're supposed to be here. This is the thing," but it doesn't approach that way.
It would imply that this is a trap. It's a honeypot. It's a setup.
Something.
Maybe, right? There'd be something you could do here where this is like meant, right? And then at the end you have them like resetting stuff so that you think,
something. It's weird. But so I skipped ahead just to make that point there. But
we're almost to there. Yeah.
What I glanced over, though, was the fact that the kids find out that they've been, like, burning livestock alive, and they tried to, like, kidnap them. The lady caregiver, she stopped them with swinging of a shovel, and then the guy comes in, the rest of the group comes.
Yes.
So now it looks like they outnumber those people. They have weapons in hand and stuff from their salvaging, and he goes, like, it kind of ultimately ends with, like, but those are my tools, and he gives them the weapons, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna murder you with those. You just gave up your only advantage here.
It was so strange. I'm so glad you called that out.
But that's not what happens. They just kind of walk away and it's over.
Yeah.
But our male caregiver dude kind of gets uppity and big in the britches and says, like, all right, and you don't come back or I'll fuck you up. And they're like, you'll what? And it
gets
comes
back
in there.
his face.
And then that guy, like swinging his fucking shovel, slips and a piece of jagged metal cuts through his fucking arteries.
Right. So this is where, right? So can I take a moment to talk about the editing?
Yeah.
Would this be the appropriate
time?
Go
right ahead.
We've watched movies before where I complain, and I don't know why. Sometimes it affects me more than others, but I really hate when you're having like a conversation and you're cutting back and forth, and it seems like it's different takes or different shots, or it's very obvious the back of the head, the jaw's not moving with the words, like little things like that. This movie, though, like, broke me down to nothing, and put me down to the point where I no longer cared about it because it was, like, so bad. So many things happen where, like, people fall down, and, like, you never show them getting up. They're just like standing next to the door again, right? Things just happen, and you can just say, oh, I guess he moved in between the shots. It's fine. But, like, it happens so much that there's so little connective flow to, like, stuff that happens. Like that scene where they find the livestock, right? It just cuts to them, like, running. It cuts to them there. They set the goat free. The goat gets hit by a car and, like, evaporates into video game pixels.
Yeah, that was CG bullshit.
And then, like, the rednecks are like, hey, and then it just cuts to them already running really far away, though, and all this stuff. It was, like, so bad. They had so little coverage or so little, like, desire to make a thing that, like, felt good or something.
For a low-budget movie, though, I'm less critical about those things.
I think that everyone's different with that, and that's totally fine. But, like, part of what I'm doing here is, like, the filmmaking that is on display has to be of a certain level, or else I'm just like, what are we doing here?
I thought so. This, I happen to know the budget of the movie.
Okay.
It was $1.2 million pounds.
Okay.
So it was
like $2 million or whatever.
I looked it up. It actually translates to like $1,625,000.
Yeah.
So like
Exchange
this is an extremely low budget movie.
Extremely low budget
especially
movie.
when you count in like the number of people in here. They seemingly rented the whole town because this is a lot of stuff happening in this.
Yeah.
And how some of their gore effects worked. I'm like okay.
Yeah.
I'm like a lot of money was spent on this. A lot of that money was spent. I could see like where it went.
Yes.
And so like when a movie's like this, like low budget of a movie. I didn't have any egregious problems with how it was shot or edited, and because I see a lot of movies in the low, but like when you count 20 million under low budget movies, and it didn't have the egregious errors that I see in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
like,
not errors, just like the technique.
It had weird choices because they were consistent, and the things you didn't like were consistent. That kind of thing happened throughout.
Like that's what I mean by it, like, broke me down, where I was like, because at first I'm like, oh, this is really bad, and then at the end I'm like, I guess that's their style or something, because that's how
I took it as a stylistic choice.
I really
when those things happen once or twice in a movie, I'm like, that's an error. But when you do something continuously like that, the idea of saying you have that many errors is like, and while it's possible, I didn't get that vibe based on how some other things played out.
I feel like it's like incompetence on the part of like filmmaking or whatever. I don't know who made this and what else they've made or something like that, but like I don't know what it was designed to do, if it was intentional or like why it was seen as good or something. But again,
this was written and directed by the same guy, Alex Chadden.
Okay.
He has a number of credits on his thing, like 10 movies, I believe.
Yeah.
In his and
they're in like
thing.
the horror vein.
It's all things I've never heard of. Like nothing rang a bell, so I couldn't say like
sure.
this was the best thing he did, the worst thing he did. I don't know because I've never seen anything else that he's made. But I wasn't.
And it's not like everything has to look the same or like be done one way or something like that. But like certain things are like jarring, and I'm like, fucking, what is? I can't take this seriously.
I didn't walk away with the same thoughts. Like nothing screamed at me or pulled me out of the scene. I thought some of the characters might have been underdeveloped, but I ultimately was in for the ride. I was like, all right, what's happening? The people I wanted to die were killed off relatively quickly, and I didn't have to sit through them very long. And like I said, there's no real actors in this that are famous except for Matt Fraser. He plays one of like the freaks from the American Horror Story freak show.
Oh, with the little arms.
Yeah, little arm guy.
Yeah, little arm guy.
Yeah,
I noticed that guy. Yeah.
And they didn't really like. I actually think he's a decent actor.
No, he was cool in American Horror Story.
He wasn't used in the same way in this, where he didn't have a lot of plot development. He wasn't a main character, so he didn't have a lot of screen time to say things. But I thought it was okay.
Well, so leading back to where we are in like the plot.
Sure.
Up until this point, I think we have very different like tastes of like the opinion, like the flavoring of this, right? Not taste, but like in our mouths or whatever. So up until this point, I'm like, this will be my first 2 out of 10. This is not a movie. This is total horseshit.
Okay.
Right. And then when he hurts himself like that, I was like, oh, like stuff gets real all of a sudden, and this is different and this is interesting, right?
The worst tourniquet ever applied.
Oh yeah.
Was in this.
It wasn't a tourniquet. It was like putting pressure on it for some reason.
No, they took a belt.
And
they put it on him, but they put the belt on below the wound, not above the wound.
It looked like it was below, and then I thought it was directly on for some reason, like directly on the wound. Like they put some like stuff up against it, and they just used the belt to like tighten it onto him or whatever. It was very bad. Yeah, no one had medical training whatsoever in that.
No.
But like having crazy rednecks laughing and like doing gestures and like walking away while someone is just accidentally bleeding.
Yeah,
to
I thought
death,
that was great.
I was like, wow, that's actually interesting. Or like whatever, and it leads into more stuff that happens.
Yeah. This is the point where it kind of turned and it started getting more interesting because now it got real. A man has a horrible injury that's going to lead to his death if they don't get him fixed. They get him back to the pub and. At the pub, they're like, oh, we'll put him in the back. We'll call an ambulance. It's gonna take like at least 40 minutes because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Which when you do the math in your head, you're like, oh, it's gonna take 40 minutes when they get here. At least another 40 minutes when they get back.
No, he's obviously dead.
He's gonna die.
And she's screaming like that's not he's gonna die or whatever. Like, oh, come on. And like when you cut to the pub before the kids and everybody get there, they're like singing and
like
stuff.
Like the catchiest fucking song.
Yeah,
that song got stuck in my head.
Dirges and stuff, whatever. They're like doing their like thing, and you still think that the bartender's an ally. Spoiler alert: he's not. Right?
Yes.
This is a good moment too. when he like leads them back there, and like you think, well, this is like farm country, that might have like a veterinary level or like home medicine thing, maybe.
People that live in the middle of nowhere are usually able to take care of themselves in some way. I thought they were gonna burn them. I thought they were gonna like cauterize
No. I thought maybe they have to amputate it and then like burn it, and it's just like, and things get twisted and like weird from there or something like that. But they kind of throw us like a huge out of nowhere left turn. He says, "I'm gonna give you something for the pain," and then he has a big cleaver and just goes crazy on him.
My only problem with that scene is when he said it, you already saw the cleaver, and I thought that could have been a great thing. Let me give you something for the pain. And then it cut to like a snap cut of him hammering his head off.
You get a very short time. It's like half a second of time to think maybe it's not right. It's like so quick. It's like nothing.
Like that could have been a better reveal than it was, but it was fine because you still didn't expect it. And also, there's a very big kitchen for a place that doesn't serve food.
I know.
And maybe they once upon a time
like an old house or something. Yeah, we can't start nitpicking like that. Cause
no, just something I thought about. I was like, wow, that's a giant kitchen. And it was like sterilized. It looked good.
It looked like a working kitchen, like a working place kitchen.
So he cuts the dude's head like clean off, and they file them into the basement, to await their next thing. And they start talking about this show. They're going to be performing a show.
Get everybody together. We're doing the show.
And I like the idea of this show thing, but the show in its actual like how they executed it, it's very quick. It's not as like a slow, torturous thing.
You wanted more torture porn aspects of this,
And I'm not like, I've been on record many times. I don't like torture porn. I think it's like,
I know, but you wanted it.
It's the downfall of modern horror is the gore and torture porn type movies because they sacrifice plot just for these type of things.
Right.
But this movie I thought had a plot, like where like it was like, okay, like they're crazy people. This is gonna be like a show. I'm like, oh, they're gonna be like throwing darts at them or doing some shit. And it really wasn't that. They hammer the one kid to the floor with like the little croquet circle things.
Okay, I was gonna say I couldn't think of the word.
There's a name for those things. I don't know it. So he's pinned like Jesus style.
I wrote down like brackets or something. I don't know like a horseshoe U-shaped things to hold him to the ground.
So he's like pinned to the ground, and they start trotting a horse around him in circles that are closing in on him.
I know, it was so weird. Before that, though, the like pervert from earlier like lays down next to him. Yeah. And that too, I was like, okay, this movie feels like crap, but it has interesting stuff in it or whatever. It's gonna have this weird. It's gonna get like because earlier the perv was going at her really weird, and it's gonna push the envelope of like weird stuff that's gonna happen or something like that. And then when the horse comes out and all that. And
before that, they crammed vegetables in his nose and mouth.
Up his nose. Yeah, it was so weird. So I'm like, okay, this is just going to be like extremely weird stuff going to happen here. And then when the horse came out, I'm like, oh god, what's going to happen with the horse? What are they going to do? They could do so many things. And
the horse eats the vegetables off his face.
Yeah, but they just get the horse to like step on him. It's like the dumbest thing.
Oh no, I thought that was decent. Like I felt the tension of that because I knew what would happen. I'm like, if you get a glancing blow from a horse, that's the worst kind of pinch cut you can get because of the steel fucking hooves. And I'm like, and if it gets him in the center, it's gonna just crush your shit. Because I'm big in my thing with horror is it's not always about the execution, it's the idea. And I put myself in that person's shoes, and I'm like, well, this would be fucking horrible. There's very little you could do. You could try to squirm and wiggle, but I'm like, it's slowly coming through, and it's like when a dog walks across your lap on the couch. Like, where's it gonna step? It doesn't give a shit. It steps wherever the fuck it wants.
Wherever it wants.
And it like glances his shoulder, like, and I thought that wound looked very representative of what that would actually do. I liked it. I like this part actually a lot because I've never seen that type of a torture scene.
No, I never saw it either.
So much of things is just recycling and let me tweak it a little bit and do this and that I was like, oh, a thing that I've not seen that before. I was like, okay, I didn't hate that.
Okay.
The next torture scene, just to skip over, they do a mild escape. They catch one kid. They
we
come
should really
back.
just hit it right. So we have our next victim.
Yes, is the dick kid that I've disliked the most.
We all hate this kid.
Who had a mild redemption scene here, where he actually
he stabs the pervert. He says, "Go! What are you waiting for? Let's go!"
He kind of like
he takes a little role.
Is the reason they were able to escape, and I was like, okay, but they've caught him now, and he's strung up and to some sort of a. Like one of those old torture machines that would like expand you. It looks like.
Yeah, but like it's a weird.
They don't use that though.
Thing. No, it's
What they end up as his death is they use a septic tank.
Oh, is that what that
is hooked up to a gas pump.
Okay.
and I was like, interesting. What are they gonna do with this? Because you're like, okay, they've been a little different so far.
And he says goggles, so I go, okay, they're gonna like fill him up with whatever that is, and he's gonna explode.
My thought first was if they were going to fill him, I thought they were going to fill him from the other end.
Me too.
I thought they were going to put that up his ass and just like
That's the only way that makes sense. I don't even think it makes sense the way they did it.
They put it in his mouth and just loaded him up. And it does cut to some interesting effects, classic like actual practical effects of cheek bloat and neck fill and stuff like that.
Yeah, we get a wet rib cage thing. And
and I didn't. While I didn't hate it, I thought again it was quick because these people are like torturers. You'd think that they would have given him like a little taste and him like like vomit or like something would have happened to explain it. 'Cause especially he stabbed one of your own. He's like he tried to get away.
Like, the distance that the people are away and their capacity to understand and enjoy what's happening, I did not like this
the audience
whole show thing.
Is so this was something I read just to tip my hand on some Googling I did.
Sure.
This movie caught a lot of flack because for like the freaks, I think, as they listed them, it's a lot of mentally handicapped people are in the audience. Like,
oh, those are real.
Yeah, most of the people. It seemed, at least from what Wikipedia said, that these are people that are mentally challenged that are in the audience. Whether you can say the director was searching for realism or whatever. Or if he's exploiting people, that's up to your own interpretations here.
I'm willing to just go because they looked messed up, but the title's Inbred. The idea, like the whole thing here, the whole plot line is that the guy that you thought was like the good guy, and there was like one or two weird guys.
Yes.
It turns out everyone's weird, and like that guy's just like the most competent of all the weird guys. He is
the leader of these inbred people.
We should talk about the clown
in
makeup.
Blackface.
I was gonna say we should talk about the clown makeup. It didn't read as necessarily blackface to me. It was whatever, but yes, he's doing the clown thing and stuff.
When they're in the pub, over one of the character's shoulder, there's a picture on the wall of a clown in blackface next to some other clown. It says it's like an award or an advertisement or an ad or something. And I noticed that you see that earlier on in the thing, so it's like a little bit of foreshadowing. Yeah. So then when we saw him, I was like, oh, I wonder if that was like a poster of his great granddad or maybe him when he was younger.
Yeah, exactly. But he takes it seriously. He's like, and someone's like fixing the neck. Like, I like the idea that they have an entire society built on this depravity, and everyone's filling little roles and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And, if you're gonna have the torture or whatever porn that isn't torture porn, you want to have some sort of aspect like this. Like, we all enjoy this.
They caught some flack also in this movie because there's apparently a British show I'm not familiar called The League of Gentlemen.
Okay.
And The League of Gentlemen, which I'm sure you're not familiar with either, is about a small town in the cottage areas of London with at least from what I watched one clip of the show is a wife and a husband who kill strangers that come into the town. Done in very much a comedy vein. So
interesting.
This is listed as a comedy horror. Yeah. I didn't really catch a lot of the comedy. No. It's mainly just a horror movie. I don't know really if there was any comedy in this movie. To continue on with the talk here, our remaining heroes, if you will, we have the female social security, the female social worker, and the arsonist and the silent girl, which I'm not even sure if we ever find out what her crime was.
No, there's very little.
Not that it's super important. They've escaped, they've run, they got back to the house, and
so they're looking for stuff, right? They need the map, they need the phones, they need whatever. Like they have to figure out how to get away now.
Yes.
Right? There's a bunch of stuff happening.
Well, they don't have. No, I think in the first one they go right to the car. They go back to the house twice.
He hotwires the car.
He hotwires the car. They drive
with
away.
A rock.
Well, no, the rock smashes the window.
Obviously, but it's hilarious.
And then with his bare hands, he hotwires the car.
Yeah, they fucking freak out for everyone's yelling and screaming and running in and out of frame, and then he's like, wait a minute, I have a rock though, and now everything's fine. He just can hotwire the car or whatever. There was no.
I can see that even if you have the ability to hotwire a car, not every car is the same.
Yes.
There are a bunch. I can't think of off the top of my head things now that I know I can do this, but I failed before.
My first thought was I wonder if one of them can hotwire the car. Maybe that's her thing because she's weird,
Yeah, I think it would have made a little more sense for her to be the thief because he's the arson. We've established.
He has a thing that he likes. So I'm like, okay.
I like how he would phrase things too. It's like, oh, that's a lot of wood right there. That would burn up quite good.
Okay.
And then just like walks away. Like
Okay,
you can see that it's a sickness that's like deep in him.
Yeah,
and I liked that.
I forget the line later. Yeah, he says, "I can prove it to you." When he has his like lighter, he's like, "That's a fire hazard. I can prove it to you." Has like a wide-eyed like, "Oh yeah."
There's a British thing I like when they say, "Isn't it?" I think that's something innately British that I enjoy.
What are you on about? All that stuff. We like British people.
So they get in the van and they make a run for it down the road, and they're stopped by the large man who.
Yeah, so like Pervert's been chasing them.
Yep.
And I should take a minute to say, but because we've moved on from it, during the torture stuff, right? There's a certain amount of showmanship. You still have the carrot dick.
Yeah.
You have the other guy with the weird big nose, and like the nose like rubs on the other guy's face, and like they put wigs on the guys. Like it has the makings for like a really unsettling, like weird redneck torture like thing. And I agree with you that it's kind of like wasted because like it's over too quickly or whatever, right?
For something that has the showmanship, there's not much of a show.
Exactly.
It's kind of like just a period on a sentence, but you didn't get the sentence.
It made me.
I thought that was, to me, the biggest downfall of the movie is things like that. Is like, I'm like, you invested a lot in making something happen. Like the scene with him putting on his coat to get ready to do the show is longer than the show.
Exactly.
And that's a fact. It is
100%. Yes, even if you take the whole thing. Wow.
It's a weird
he's like
way
putting
to
on like the last of the makeup and doing all that, talking to the lady and all that.
But I like it. You find out that the pervert guy we're talking about, the large man, is his son.
Yeah.
And,
son.
I like that too.
Yeah.
But there he is with a shotgun. He stops the car, putting a couple shots through the window.
Yeah.
And they do what they should have done from the very beginning. Yeah. That's not apply the brake and just run him down.
Right. They get the car started, but the guy with the gun shows up, all caps. So they stop the car, and then I say, "Oh wait, they started driving again." Oh, good. They took the shotgun.
Yes.
That's what happened.
They took his shotgun. Then another guy who wasn't allowed in the show we meet earlier comes out with a shotgun. She blows his head off, but they don't take his shotgun. That was my annoyance.
I'm glad that we're here.
Sure.
So the guy with the ferret and the weird porn was set up earlier. He was like a thing, right? He's like posting, he's like pasting, animal pictures over
pornography,
over like classy porn that he has in like the train car thing, and even all the weird people there, even the like biker bear like eating maggots is like, I don't think so, Jim, because he's like, he's the weird guy, right? You think something's gonna happen with this guy or whatever.
It's been established that he's been banned for something he did in the last one
from the show.
You like think, oh, maybe he set somebody free or he did something wrong. Maybe he's going to be an ally.
Okay. So I figured perhaps, but also
perchance an ally.
Perchance, But I figured mostly he would just be like the worst of the worst and like the sickest, most depraved or whatever. Because it gets again like there's a way to things can be really unsettling. Like when it's a ferret or like a weasel. What do you think?
I believe it's a white ferret.
Okay, so
could be a mink, but I think it's a ferret.
So when he's like, I didn't bring him this time, and then he opens his fly and it like comes out, but then he's like rubbing its head, so there's a thing coming out of his fly at this dude wearing nothing but a leather vest with like a pipe and maggots is like rubbing this like ferret or whatever. It's very unsettling and like creepy and like awkward
I
stuff.
thought they hit a lot of things.
I was like, that's really awesome or whatever.
And the guy's wearing like lederhosen or something. Like he looks like a yodeler.
Yeah, has a weird mustache and he's like weird or whatever. So I can't wait to find out what's so weird about this guy and how he's gonna fit into the larger picture of everything.
He doesn't.
And he dies pointlessly. His head explodes after saying one line in this scene.
Yeah, so them not picking up his shotgun was my biggest complaint.
I noticed that too. We should have more guns.
I can't stand when things are like that. Or like run past the guy's weapon, or like don't finish him when he's laying down. Like those are the things that annoy me the most in movies because, again, trying to put yourself in the position of a character, there's no way I'd let anyone live, or I don't take anything that would help me live.
And it was particularly weird because if you want to sell the thing that they're in such a hurry and they're so like not having it and they can't think straight, but they just took the other guy's shotgun, and this guy has a shotgun or more ammo or something, right? And we didn't do it. And I know.
So they continue down the road and. And they, what is this?
Well, so like they are just escaping, you think, now, or something like that. And it cuts to a parade of idiots led by the clownman and everybody. You have the banjo man, you have like the hay barrel, what's the hay
guy
stack?
with a chainsaw.
What's the name of the...
Pitchfork
guy, right? You got the dude with the butcher dude, he has a name, Pudge, I think,
whatever.
Group
of them are all together,
and
they're blocking the road.
Of characters, yeah.
And the car comes barreling down, doesn't stop, kills a couple of them.
And we get some more CG evaporation of a set
of
them,
right?
Okay,
cool. Yeah. Now, then it it careens off the road or whatever because it just hit things.
Yeah.
Had they just stayed in the car, they're not in the car, mind you.
I was going to say.
There's
that's
a
the
stick
main...
on the gas pedal.
Yes.
Had they stayed in the car, they could have held course and kept driving, and they would have been away. They would have won.
You would have won, right there.
100%.
Or just drive in whatever the other direction is, because you got into the town, and I guess they're walking on the same road. That's the only road you know to get out of the town.
I pictured that there is
right?
only one road out. This town is
yeah.
like the dead end of something.
Sure.
And that happens, especially with like small cottagey towns. You got to
Off
it and
the
stuff.
whatever, yeah.
But
yeah, this could have been it. You could have just driven
done.
out. But they had the foresight to prepare to use the car as like an automated weapon of attack, and then were not in there, but went somewhere else instead, and ended up going back to the cottage. Right?
Yeah, they go back to the cottage, and they're like, well, that's the last place I think they'll check because it's mad. Why would you go back to the cottage?
That's
And
tough.
in my head, I'm like, that is the worst place to go. That's 100% where I would check. It's the only place I know you know. And they go back there.
The lead guy says they won't leave. They never do, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, I guess everyone has the same idea. Is that what happens?
I think so.
I guess. And you find out later, if they just run in a random direction, everything's fine too. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So at the cottage, a lot of yelling.
Yes, as they're trying to sort their
I've
shit
checked
out.
this. I haven't checked that. We won't check this.
They're trying to find the phones.
Right.
And the phones are just nowhere to be seen.
They never find them, right?
They don't.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they came in and someone took the phones because they know where they're staying. They could have presumably rummaged through their shit.
Exactly. You might think you'd want to set that up by showing where he hid them and then having them not be there.
I thought there's going to be a setup. So when he takes the phones, first he takes the Dick's phone and he puts it in his pocket. Then he pulls a bag out and the bag's clearly empty. He didn't put the other phone in the bag because he has to shake it free.
So
and
just,
he puts the rest of the
Dick's
phones in
phone?
there.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, there's going to be a thing where like that phone rings or something and it's in his pocket and he's like, oh no, he's dead. So that's not in his pocket anymore. Or he just forgot it was in his pocket. It was a day later, so he could have put it with those bags. But that was my thought process. Was there's going to be something different because that phone is there and not here.
You're thinking that maybe the lack of accounting for that phone will come into play. Or whatever.
Yes, and it does not.
So something just occurred to me. It's off the top of my head, but let's rewrite this, right?
Sure.
You see Jeff or Greg or whatever hide the phones somewhere in like the house or whatever. Everyone comes home, panics, looking for the phones. They search there. And you very clearly see them like turn the vase or like pot over and like it's like empty. There's like nothing in there, and they go, where could they be? Then you cut to Lederhosen guy who's not dead, right? And he's got a gun and he's doing this one or like whatever. And then all the phones are put up on the fence
and he's shooting them.
And he's doing target practice with the phones.
That'd be great.
Right? And then it cuts back.
But
and then
there's one pair of pants on the ground from like in his laundry pile, and that's where the Dick's phone is. So that they still do have hope.
So you can find a phone, exactly.
Yes.
And that one is there. Yeah. You do this whole thing, right? You just like make it into a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so that already much better. The one of the greatest scenes for me, like
I
that
think
really
it's
stood
mine
out.
too. Yeah.
We'll see if this is the same.
Yeah.
I love when she opens the door, sees them there, closes the door, and like is kind of ducked down but bracing the door, and a shotgun blows through and gets her hand. I was like, oh man, so good, because like you think like, oh man, like that's so horrible, my hand, like, and her fingers are barely hanging out. Like,
wonderful.
They really got her good.
It's really good. Yeah.
And knowing this, you're like, oh, my hand is fucked. Like, I just got a shot. Like, would I rather have just gotten shot in the head and ended it all? And if you follow this lady's arc, yes.
Yes. Turns out this time, yes.
Oh, yes.
So that was funny. So like, if anything's funny, it's that. She opens the door, whoa, and like slams the door shut, right? So, and it's this 1-2 punch of like, and then like her hand gets shot.
And
it's wonderful. It's really good.
It felt very strong for me.
And the hand looked good. It was
it really did.
It was obviously some amount of practical. I don't know if they're just. I doubt they CG painted all that, but it looked really good.
If you had to guess for me what it was,
were hanging and stuff,
her hand was just like this, and they added 2 fingers right there because she's always like this, holding it like this.
Yeah, exactly.
But it looked really good.
And she's freaking out and staring at it, which I really, really liked.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Whatever direction or like actor choice that was, because that's what you would do. If you've ever hurt yourself, you're just like, oh, God, or whatever. Like,
I would be afraid to wrap that. Because I'm like, if you wrap it, it might knock those fingers off. And I know it doesn't matter because they're so severed that they would have to be reattaching anyway. It's not like, but you'd be like, oh, I can't lose my finger. And just the idea of them falling off, that little hanging strand of skin, you'd be like, ah.
And as it's being wrapped, her like reaction and all that stuff was really good. I liked all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. and things drop a little bit from there.
So I was gonna say, this is like, for me, it's like a low thing, and this is like a spike where I'm like, okay, now stuff's, so we were saving everything up for this or whatever, right? But then like the arson dude has the shotgun, and I'm like, okay, now something's gonna happen or whatever. But he shoots the banjo guy for some reason.
Yeah,
that was bothering me immensely.
It was so. Not only does he shoot the banjo, so our main blackface dude like shoots our girl or shoots at the girl, shatters the window she's in, which spooks the guy, and that's why he shoots that guy. And the guy with the blackface has a double barrel, and when he gets spooked by the shot, shoots his friend again. That guy got shot twice.
That's
like,
the other guy.
Poor bastard.
So that guy went in and got baited by the lady with the hand who stabbed him, and then he stumbles back out and all this stuff. So yeah, in the end, right, we have a dude very dead, the banjo dude's dead, and she gets glass in her face and all that stuff. Which sets up, I hate this so much.
What's that?
Where like he's like picking the glass out of her face and they kiss. And all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which again, if you were trying to geniusly deconstruct the horror genre, I guess that's what that is.
I didn't hate it for two reasons. For one, that like clearly he was interested in this girl the whole
set up
time.
A thing between them, yes.
So like it wasn't out of the blue like you do see in some movies.
Right.
And then B, I'm like, you're in all likelihood about to die.
It's an extreme situation.
Take that kiss.
100%.
What I would have liked is the girl behind this, watching the whole thing, is holding her hand like, looking at it, and she kind of just like looks away when they kiss. I would have liked to, really? And just like to scream, like, we're gonna fucking die, and you're kissing!
Because that indicated that she was broken down to a point that's contradicted by her later actions, right?
Yes.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have kissed at like a lot of other points. I just felt like it didn't make sense.
It didn't bother me, but I think there are things that could have improved it. Like I said, with the screaming or how her reaction could have been a little different. But then,
so I think the next thing is like the older lady runs away, like she's gonna lure them away to get so that the kids can like escape.
Yeah, well, that's her plan anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly pan out for her as they don't even chase her. She's like, huh.
This I like too.
And she's getting away, and they're starting to place bets.
Like how
and
many?
I like how
15,
this scene
10,
lingers.
20-something.
Like it's them waiting and watching. It's cutting to their running, cutting to their faces, and then bam, she steps in a bear trap and she goes down.
And it's in wide. It's like non-anticipatory. It's like it just happens, right? And something's gonna happen. Right?
Yep.
But it's very I like this whole aspect of it a lot.
And then they make another bet that she could go another 15 yards or something. Yeah. And they send out Grizzly McFucking Chiselface.
His name is Pudge. And he goes, what's she losing, or whatever. And he goes, a leg, just one, or whatever. Like, this is the normal, right? And this, like you're saying, Hills Have Eyes, or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a scene where, like, someone hits someone else in the face and, like, their teeth get knocked out, but all the rednecks just laugh at them, or like, whatever. It's things like that. It's just very, that's the scary part, the cavalier attitude of, like, we'll cut her hand off then if she keeps doing that. That whole thing of, like, that's, like, something about that, right? So I like this a lot.
So he goes up, he cuts off the leg that is bound, and kind of leaves her, and she's like very slowly.
She's like, "Oh wait,
meanders her way up,
can crawl away a bit."
And bam, landmine.
The landmine kills the other one. I thought. Does it kill her too?
Wait, what other one?
The younger one.
Oh no, you're right. I'm an idiot. I mixed it together.
That's fine.
No, I said it backwards.
Does she just fall down dead though? I
no. They're like, I guess she looks like she's kind of done, and he shoots her with a shotgun from 400 yards away.
That's what happens. That bothers me so much too. Why would you do these things? Yeah, and he goes, good shot. Like, impossible shot. The spread on a shotgun is like, it's like 100 yards. It's like so far away.
He could be firing slugs.
He could be doing a lot of things that were not established at any point in the movie.
Well, we never see anything that makes it known to be birdshot either.
Okay, fine, but I can't.
Regardless, though, that's like a PUBG style shot. Hitting someone from that far away.
Was that a rifle? Like, what's happening here, or whatever? And again, it's like very easy to fix. Just have him walk a little bit, or have something else happen, or just do something, or just don't do that. I don't know anything.
So yeah, I fucked that part up. Blew the ending there for you.
Well, you've seen
our arsonist has a plan.
You know what's happening.
Our arsonist has a plan. He finds some vodka in the basement, which he takes a sip of, so he should know the quality of it.
And it's written on there like 50% proof in like a very redneck hilarious way.
I think that's
because,
but it is a label. It's not written on there.
No, I know.
And I think because it's a label, does sell the point that that's what we sell to fucking tourists. That is shit.
Well, so it's funny to say percent proof because proof is just a number and like percent's not. So I chuckled at it being like like an inbred redneck whatever thing. British rednecks. What are they called? I don't know. Inbreds. So that was fine. But yes, he's tasted it, so he should know. And I don't even think 50% is high enough to catch fire. I'm not sure what the I don't know if you're up on your Molotov cocktail.
50 proof would definitely catch.
50 proof is only 25% alcohol. That's nothing, right? No, the other way around. Yeah.
I thought
proof's double.
Proof is double of what it is. Okay. Well, what is? Oh, vodka's usually 100%. No.
So you can have
rubbing
like
alcohol's 100%.
Yeah, so you can have like Bacardi 101, right?
Uh-huh.
That's how how much proof it is, and that's 50% alcohol basically.
I was thinking about this when it said 50 as a beer. I'm like, a beer is 3%. That's 50%. That's fine.
Yeah, no, it might work, and I'm not going to fact check him like, you wrote the wrong percent on the thing, because the whole point is that
it actually didn't work.
Yeah, he tastes it and like thinks that it should catch fire, and it doesn't, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe he tastes the like good one, and there's more, or whatever.
But he threw them all.
Yeah, no,
and there was no fire.
There was nothing, and it felt like he was just angry and was, like wrecking the place, but then decided or something. It was very weird. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to take.
So
that.
I immediately was like, okay, he's going to try to burn them all alive. That was my thought.
Yeah.
Getting them into the basement wasn't how I thought it was going to happen.
No.
I figured he'd spread it around the whole house.
Yep.
They'd go to like the second floor or something and jump out the window while the place all burns to the ground.
Exactly.
But I also thought if you walk in and a house is full of alcohol, you'd be like, someone had a party in here. Something would happen.
Yeah.
But more like he's just like, well, they wrecked this place. What happened in the basement? Oh, my. And every one of them goes in.
100% of them go in. All of them go to the basement together. Yeah. You're like, what is happening? Yeah.
Which didn't end up mattering because he couldn't even spark the rag.
Yeah. Lures them in
Unfortunate.
quotes. I put it in quotes. Lures them to the basement.
Yeah.
Like he's not shouting, "I'm down here, you fucks!" Like he's not doing anything. They just all go down to the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go down the basement. They don't burn to death. They kill that boy. Our hero is dead, but the girl gets a chance to run for it.
And she hears everything from like way outside. She can hear the chainsaw and the screaming and everything somehow. Just so she has to know, I guess, that she...
Whatever.
Yeah.
But he's dead, she's running, and they all come out, they place a bet again, and then she dies to a landmine.
Right, so do they say landmine, or do we just know at that point?
Earlier, when
Someone
the
plants that
first
idea,
girl was running, the social worker, they bet, and he's like they gave out the odds, and they said 30% landmine, or 30% bomb, or whatever they said. They said like 10% this, blah, blah, and like they threw out a bunch of things.
He goes tripwire this percent, landmine this percent, trap this percent. Yeah, he's going through all the stuff. Yeah. So landmines are an option at this point,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And then bam.
Yeah, she steps on it. You get the like awesome click noise, right? And then the ferret comes back.
Yes,
because that's how we want to do this, right?
So I thought that was a weird. It was weird in general because I was like, all right, when you see her running and you know this is an option, there's a couple of things that could happen. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, one of them is obviously they're all a distance away and she gets over the hill and she's just gone, like bypasses it, because there's certainly a % chance you don't hit any of them. And I almost thought they were going to go with that. And like them, like one of them maybe start to run after. No, don't! You'll die to the mines, you fool! Let her go. And I thought it would end with like a stinger of her in the next town over, who is also these people,
right?
A version of them, like our cousins or something.
Right, something, yeah.
But no, she clicks on it and she's fine, and the ferret starts coming. So now the ferret's coming, and I'm like, okay, now what are her options? I'm like, the ferret steps on the mine and she runs and gets a second to go.
I was just gonna say, so you and I are sitting there, right, being like, okay, well the ferret shouldn't be heavy enough to like click the mine, is it? I don't know. And then it starts digging, right? So you go, oh, there must be something with something, right? With something's happening here, I guess, right? Something's gonna happen, and then it actually just crawls up her leg and makes her move her foot, is the idea.
Something I was wondering while it was digging, I was like, if you did, because that mine's relatively small. It looks almost like a smoke detector. It's pretty small.
Right.
If you
could you
just
hold
around
it and walk or whatever?
Could you like lift your leg and then maybe like put it on the ground upside down or something, or at least turn it away? Because I think the whole thing is the explosion is directional. Yeah. If you could twist it fast enough, maybe you just lose some fingers or something.
It's probably bad no matter what, but yeah.
Sure, but I wonder about my options.
I thought something was going to happen. Would be my point here. Ferret shows up and scares her. Okay.
And that's the ferret scares her, and that's how she blows up.
And she's dead. And it's good giblets up up into the sky. I thought it was fine. And like so then like the end, right? This is like the real thing. Is like he's like, so pint, and like they saunter off, and
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a thing where they're all walking. It's like the Magnificent Seven walking into the sunset, and it's like weird butcher guy and pitchfork guy and scythe guy and all these weird guys walking, and that's like your thing. It's like this is what they do. I would have liked, like you're saying, some sort of hint that it's this like inescapable nightmare or something like that, or show them like
arranging the next set
fixing
of people to
or
come
doing
in,
something like that. Just a little more window into what they're doing, and the fact that this is normal for them and stuff.
Yeah, because it leaves room for a sequel. The movie didn't do well enough to, I don't think, ever have a sequel. This movie is a 13% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
I really hate this movie.
Like, you didn't like it, but you didn't like it for a whole different reason than almost all the reviews didn't like it.
Okay, what are the reviews say?
are almost all from, like, it seemed like British people like that left the reviews, and they didn't like it for, painting in a bad light, the distastefulness of using, like, actually mentally handicapped people.
Oh, wow.
They said the rip-off nature of one of the shows in particular was the League of Gentlemen, and a couple of things like that. But I don't know. It didn't rub me any, because none of those things affected me. Going into it, I didn't know it was mentally handicapped people in the movie. I didn't know of these British shows.
I don't know about any of that.
No,
either.
that's what I'm saying. You didn't like it for a different reason.
And
for
a
standard movie, I thought it was fine.
No, when I saw Rotten Tomatoes, I thought I just scrolled real quick, and it only shows you like a few. But it was just I remember some stuff like, oh, we're just retreading things, or this is just whatever, or it's whatever, like bad.
No, I didn't think it was new ground. It didn't it
doesn't
really
have to be new,
But I thought it had a slight spin that was different. I did like certain parts of it. I thought some of the actors were decent. I thought some weren't.
Yeah.
But overall, that's kind of what horror is you don't usually end up with these like A-list actors and with A-list plots and good locations and things. So I wasn't expecting this crazy thing for it. The movie's called Inbred, so you go into that, I think, knowing a certain amount about what it's going to be. But I would say this is, it's a 5 for me.
Okay. It was a solid 2, and then it fought its way up to perhaps a 3 or a 2.5 or something like that, just because it had some interesting stuff in it.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.